Mayor Barry gives up day-to-day duties in Washington, D.C. after his arrest for smoking crack. Reports of many dead as Soviet troops fire on civilians in the capital of Azerbaijan. And Soviet Army Reserve call-up hampered by public protest. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Marion Barry tonight delegated many of his duties as mayor of the nation's capital, but did not resign. Word of this came hours after the D.C. mayor was brought before a federal magistrate on misdemeanor drug charges, buying and using crack cocaine. After months of rumors, accusations, and denying he used drugs. Barry was arrested overnight in an FBI drug sting operation, reportedly videotaped by the FBI. Barry's lawyer said the veteran mayor will plead not guilty. All of this raises questions about Barry's political future, Jesse Jackson's plans, and a city already plagued by drug crime and record-high violence, including murders. Law correspondent Rita Braver begins our coverage.
Mayor Marion Barry was still drawing cheers in his neighborhood even after his arrest last night on charges of using crack. In an FBI undercover operation, sources say former model Rasheeda Moore, described as a cooperating government witness, allegedly lured the mayor to a rendezvous for romance and drugs. While a videotape rolled in this Washington hotel, U.S. attorneys and FBI agents watched over a hidden closed-circuit camera as the mayor allegedly gave more money for cocaine. Unknown to Barry, she then obtained cocaine from an undercover officer standing by on the scene. An affidavit filed by one of the watching agents said, "I observed Mr. Barry take possession of the crack cocaine and inhale on the lit smoking apparatus." Agents then burst in to make the arrest. The U.S. attorney said the setup was not illegal entrapment.
He entered on his own volition. He himself put himself in that situation.
Flanked by his wife, the mayor appeared in federal court today, where he was told he could face up to a year in prison, and prosecutors said his urine and blood tested positive for cocaine. He was released on personal bond pending trial.
We'll enter a plea of not guilty.
The mayor refused to discuss the charges.
On the other hand, I'm going to leave here and go about the business of government.
But late today, Barry said he'll keep the title of mayor, but will turn over his day-to-day duties to the city administrator. Barry has weathered years of allegations that he's a drug user. 2 witnesses have even testified to it before federal grand juries. Barry always dismissed the charges.
But I've never bought, used, sold, or indulged in cocaine.
But never before was the mayor captured on videotape. The turmoil led him to postpone a scheduled Sunday kickoff of his run for a 4th term. But Reverend Jesse Jackson, considered a possible rival to Barry, would not use the incident as a launching pad.
I do not intend to address the legal and political ramifications of this issue today.
As for complaints circulating through Washington that the drug case is racially motivated,
There's absolutely no basis to that claim. We will follow every allegation that we receive. We will pursue them aggressively against an individual regardless of their station, regardless of their place, regardless of their race.
but no one is counting the mayor out. Prosecutors acknowledge that with his popularity in the city, it will be difficult to convict him. But they say the case is strong, the videotape's compelling, and the investigation continuing, with more charges possible. Rita Braver, CBS News, Washington.
Marion Barry, today a sad story of personal tragedy and very likely political demise. It wasn't always that way.
He was one of those daring, courageous people who was there on the picket line, sitting in at the lunch counters, going to jail.
Barry's contemporaries in the black civil rights movement were today talking of his noble past as the first chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, as one of those who first channeled the new black political awareness of the 60s into action and results.
He has always been a people's man, down to earth, and concerned about the problems of the poor.
The son of Mississippi's sharecroppers, he had led black voter registration campaigns in the South and marches on Washington.
So help me God.
So help me God.
You're in.
He helped replow the political landscape, and then, knowing its furrows, was easily elected as Washington's mayor. He embodied hope in people who now feel despair.
We have, placed our souls with these people. Every time one falls, every time one is diminished, it hurts us. It hurts us to our core.
Down we go. Down we go.
Even in recent years, while under frequent suspicion for drug use, Barry campaigned against drugs. Some now call this hypocrisy, but the experts see cases of drug use in people like Barry all the time.
They start to feel that they're untouchable, and once that happens, they're in great danger.
But Barry was more than just a success. To those who populate the nation's capital, and more importantly to their children, he was a hero and more. Today at Spingarn High School, it was all the kids were talking about.
He has been a role model for a lot of youth, and everyone looks up to him. And right now, he has disappointed a lot of youth. He's a good man. He has done a lot for the city. That's what I'm looking at.
What the teachers trying to keep the kids off drugs are looking at is disillusionment.
I think that there is a disappointment, even with the kids who say that he's a role model, that there is a sense of disappointment, a sense of, well, where do we go from here?
Marion Barry, once so firmly entrenched in his constituency that he was called mayor for life. But a losing battle with cocaine may well have cut that political life short. One of his friends said today that power is a magnet to temptation, and Marion Barry succumbed. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Washington.
New troubles today for one of the nation's best-known mayors, the District of Columbia's Marion Barry. For some reason, winter always seems to bring problems for the mayor, and this season's troubles have arrived right on schedule. Bruce Morton reports.
This year's flap involves a room in this hotel. A former D.C. employee, Charles Lewis, lived here for a month. Mayor Barry visited Lewis several times. Hotel employees complained Lewis offered to trade cocaine for sex. The Washington Post reported today D.C. police officers went to check out the complaint, but were called back because Barry was with Lewis at the time. Later, cocaine traces were found in the room. Back in 1984, reports surfaced that this woman, Karen Johnson, had had an affair with the mayor and sold him cocaine. In 1981, people at a party at this club said Barry was there using cocaine. He denied all of those charges. He always has.
I have not been around anybody that I know purchasing and buying drugs. If I find somebody, I'm going to leave them and go call the police.
I made a sworn statement before sworn officials voluntarily that I've never bought, used, sold, or indulged in cocaine with Karen Johnson and anybody else.
But it isn't just drugs. In 1987, Barry was in California for the Super Bowl when 20 inches of snow fell on the city and snow removal failed. Barry toured Washington by helicopter once he got back. Poor ambulance service, he said poor people abuse the system. Overcrowding and escapes at Lorton Penitentiary.
We have a system that has overwhelmed all of us, and it's a failure of society, really.
At least 11 top aides have been jailed for corruption. There are reports of womanizing, of nights away from home.
It's not unusual for me to visit a number of people all the time. If I knew where you live, I might stop by and see you sometime. Have a cup of tea or drink, something like that. No problem.
Despite all that, Barry has won 3 terms easily, hobnobs with the leaders of the National Democratic Party, and raises a lot of money.
I just have a well-oiled machine, an organization that delivers when it's necessary.
Mayor, see you again. Nice to see you, brother.
He's right about that. Scandals come and scandals go, but a lot of Washingtonians call Marion Barry mayor for life. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Washington.